This is a profile of August Hermann Francke. A Festschrift is a type of book written in honor of somebody, often by professors who were once students of an important figure. In a Festschrift for August Hermann Francke's 300th birthday, so you see, someone can be a student of someone who is no longer on this earth. That's a hint, that history is very interesting, and you can actually be captivated by certain teachers in the past. One German scholar began an essay, and this was back around 1963, I think, saying that two texts were so important for Francke that they served as pylon and pillar. Now you think about it. A pylon is one of the posts a builder drives into the ground for a foundation. A pillar is something one erects to support the same structure. Imagine your task is to erect a building. The name of the building is you. What does your life look like? How is it being built? What is your foundation, and what supports you? Well, the first verse, Francke's pylon, is Isaiah 40:31. Those who wait for the Lord receive new power, so that they will fly up with wings like the eagle. Now the pillar is John 20:31. This is written that you may believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, and that through faith you may have life in his name. As to the first verse, if one goes to Halle, a city in Saxon-Anhalt in what was the former East Germany, one can visit the Francke Stiftungen, that is, the grounds of the institutes begun by Francke. There, on the eve of the main building, the one that you would see as you approach it, is, one sees in the eave, this beautiful artwork. In the top center, a golden sun with a human face on it, and golden beams radiating outward, and then two eagles below it facing each other. And then underneath all of this you see these words, Isaiah 40:31. Those who wait for the Lord receive new power, so that they will fly up with wings like the eagle. Now, I was there at the Stiftungen for 3 months last summer doing research in their archives, and I passed by this scene hundreds of times, and at no time did I not look up at it and marvel. Now, before I visited, I had read descriptions of this building many times and saw maybe one line drawing. And I thought that this was it. The Institute was this one building. Well, it's one of 24 buildings. The campus itself is an interesting story, how it grew from an orphan house to a school, to 6 schools, a hospital, a printing press, a home for widows, etc. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Suffice it to say that Francke practiced what he preached. He waited on the Lord, and he received new power. Daily, it appears, as he was so prolific, so effective. It really beggars the imagination. Francke was a Christian whose thinking was deep and wide, and whose worldwide effect on the church was deep and wide. Now the second verse, John 20:31, this is written that you may believe that, that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, and that through faith you might have life in his name. As the author said, Francke referred to this often in his writings. It is, of course, a famous verse, for it was on this verse that Francke began to meditate as he prepared a sermon which eventually led to his conversion. We're going to read that in another session. Another author in the Festschrift, Arno Lehmann, wrote that in the city of Halle, Francke is known as a professor. He came in 1692 to teach on the faculty. He taught Oriental languages, that is, mainly Hebrew. And in 1698, he began to teach theology. However, it was not Professor Francke, but Pastor Francke who interacted with the world. Lehman wrote, "Wherever pietism is spoken of, either in books or in the church, here is one of the deepest and widest effective advocates of pietism. On all 6 continents, one knows of his institutions and his social work. Except we don't. Not Lutherans in the USA, anyway. This man who did more concrete good than any other living Lutheran, mention of his name brings forth blank looks from people. Why? Well, it appears that pietists worked hard to secure a bad reputation. I would like to change the situation to at least make Francke known and perhaps dispel some false pictures about him and about pietism in general. Now, I cannot do, nor do I wish to make people today have the immense admiration or even fondness for the man I do. Why? Because he's more valuable than that. Because he is a powerful figure, and I would rather he be a scandalon, a stumbling block, than earn a place on the list of Lutheran celebrities. I would rather someone do like I did and be captivated by a great story in history, go find the primary sources, learn and study the language, culture, and history so you can understand it, and bring it into English and into our culture. And if you want to do this with Francke, the book to get is called Wort und Tat, Word and Deed. Now, people like Francke, these historical figures, because they wrote it down, they still speak today. And when I read them, what I see, and I am by no means an expert on him, but what I see is that he was bold, he took risks, took a stand on the Word of God, he was not afraid of controversy. Francke saw the world in clear terms, in black and white, which of course is something very unpopular today, which perhaps is exactly what would make him valuable as an antidote, or as at least pepper to the salt or something. As another of his German biographers said, for him a thing was either of God or the devil, God's kingdom or of the world. Francke urged people to make a choice. Francke is strong medicine, and one wonders if that is not just what Lutherans need today. Yes, nearly unknown today among American Lutherans, his only biographer in the last century in English was not one. The end of the first session. Yeah.